people, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Janice and I create faith-based content here on YouTube. Before we go on, I just want to say please like, comment, and subscribe. Especially comment. I would love to hear your thoughts on things, whether it's a prayer request, whether it's a praise report, whether it has something to do with your own testimony. Leave it in the comments. So let's get right into it. God has placed the word faith in my heart. And before we can move into whether you have faith or not, we have to understand what is faith. And I believe the definition of faith is perfectly described in Hebrews chapter 11, verses 1. Now faith brings our hopes into reality and becomes the foundation needed to acquire the things we long for. It is all the evidence required to prove what is still unseen. Faith is believing for something even when you don't see it yet. So God spoke to me and said, they don't have a trusting problem. They have a believing problem. If you're like me and you are believing God for something, I want to help you win while you're waiting on God. I'm going to help you build a strong foundation in faith. While you are waiting, be persistent with your faith. How? You know I'm going to always be an advocate for reading your word. They say in the Bible, faith comes by hearing. Hearing. And there are so many stories about faith in the Bible. You can probably find your situation right now in some of those stories, but you have to open up your word. If you are having faith that God is going to heal you, you have to believe that you are healed. The woman with the issue of blood, she believed that all she had to do was touch the hem of his garment, and she just knew she was going to get healed. No, we can't see God physically, but all you have to do is believe that you are healed. Start walking, start acting like you are healed. Have it here in your mind that you are healed. Believe him for it and watch how you are healed. Watch how God will make a way out of no way. When a doctor say no, watch how God will turn it around and say yes. Believe him for it. Believe it or not, another way to help us build a strong foundation in our faith is obeying his words. I know while we're waiting, God has given us some instructions. For me, for my breakthrough, God has been telling me to wake up every morning, Monday through Friday before I go to work, to just wake up at 5 in the morning and spend that intimate time with him. I really did not see how me waking up earlier was going to correlate to my breakthrough. But the more I'm spending time with God, the more I'm realizing it's not only helping, it's not even just about my breakthrough. That intimate time that I'm spending with God right now before I even start my day has been everything I didn't know I needed. I will not be surprised that once you start being obedient to his instructions, that there are more to come and that your breakthrough is on the other side of that obedience. And once again, it's going to help build your faith. Matthew chapter 7 verses 24 reminds us that if we stay in his word, if we be obedient to his instructions, it will help us build a strong foundation in God. So that's going to help us to build a strong foundation in faith. I promise you, Whatever God is instructing you to do, do it. On the other side of that obedience is your testimony. I said this before in my Check Your Circle faith talk, sermon. Show me your friends and I'll show you your faith. While you're waiting on God, while you're waiting to build a strong foundation in faith, who are you surrounding yourself with? Are you surrounding yourself with people who have a low faith? Or are you surrounding yourself with people who are believing for you? Who's going to help bring forth what you are believing God for? Let's bring it back to the paralyzed man. His 4 friends brought him to the roof, lowered him down to the roof, because they just knew they had to get him to Jesus. And Jesus said, because of their faith, not his faith, but their faith, he was healed. So who around you is that strong in their faith that even if you don't see it for yourself, but because they see it for you, God makes it happen? Let Mark 10:27 be your reminder to take the limits off of God. What seems impossible to you, what seems impossible to the next person, what seems impossible to man is not impossible for God. God is the God of the impossible. Take the limitations off of him and let him blow your mind. That is another thing that's going to help build your faith. Now you know what faith is. May I ask, are you rooted in faith? When trials and tribulations comes your way, because they will come, and when you are tested, are you rooted in faith or are you rooted in doubt and fear? James 1:2-4 reminds us that when those trials comes to test us, instead of looking at it in a doubtful way, take this time to look at it in a joyful way. This is the perfect opportunity for it to help strengthen your faith. So that when test comes, when the trials comes, when life decides to life, it will help strengthen your faith and help you to not waver when that trials and tribulation comes. Because it will come. Life sometimes do be lifing. Please remember, you are not alone in this. Even if you don't have someone to go to, you have God. You have God. Sometimes it may seem like it is taking longer than expected, but please do not be discouraged. Isaiah 26:3 reminds us that we have to keep our focus on Him. Keep your focus on God. That is how you're going to have peace while you're waiting. That is how you're going to not look at the circumstances and see and believe for what God has promised you. Listen, if you are struggling right now, please don't be afraid to tell God how you feel. He already knows. That's the thing about God. He knows how you feel. He just wants to hear it from you. And if you do have someone wise in your corner, do not be afraid to reach out to them. You are not a burden. You are not a burden. God has placed those people in your life so that you can come and talk to them. It's important, and I will say this again, to talk to someone wise. Wise. Not just talk to any and everybody, because any and everybody cannot handle what God is doing in your life. So if you have someone wise in your life, and personally, if you don't have someone, reach out to a pastor that you trust, or maybe a Christian counselor that you trust. Do not be afraid to let someone wise know so that they can pray over you and with you. So growing up, we had our own church. Yes, I am a pastor's kid. And the name of our church was Shield of Faith. And to this day, that holds so dear in my heart. A shield protects. So if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Not everything is the enemy, but that's not to say that he will not throw attacks your way. The enemy will try to consistently throw attacks your way. Your faith is like a shield in the battle. It is so important to wear that shield and stay fully clothed in the armor of God each and every day to protect you from not just the seen attacks, but the unseen war. When the enemy tries to sneak attack you, your faith will help protect you. And please, because this is what we love to do, when life gets good, when life gets settled, when life just seems like it's so perfect, we tend to slip up and slid away from our word. Don't do that. Do not do that. Because the enemy will love to attack when life gets good and you are not prepared. I'm encouraging you guys right along with me that when you're believing God for something, let your faith be bold. Be bold with it. I don't care who may think you look crazy, who may think that you're silly for believing something so huge, so big. Be bold with your faith. Don't let your natural eyes deceive what your spiritual eyes can see. In other words, just because your circumstances say no, your Father says yes. Don't be like Sarah and take things in your own hands because God is taking too long. When He promised you something, that in between time is so crucial to prepare. If you are believing God for healing, be bold and cry out to God and believe Him. Walk in it like it's already done. If you believe in God for a baby, go out and start buying some neutral baby clothes. If you're believing God for a new job, buy the clothes. If you're believing God for a new place, start cleaning your old place. Start looking at the places. Start buying the things that you want to put in your new place. What God has promised you, believe it, it's on the way. Don't let anyone quiet your faith because you are believing for what God has promised you. There are going to be so many people in your ears. Quiet out the noise. Don't let that distraction deter you from what God has promised you. Remember, God loves us too much to give us something too early, that the moment we get it, we ruin it. No season is ever wasted. So are you wasting your current season by complaining? By not preparing for the promise? Don't be like Sarah and not wait well. Family, wait well and watch the faith you grow birth into what God has promised you. He will deliver His promise. Well, until next time, please leave a comment. Tell me, how is your faith journey going? I would love to know. And if I can pray for you guys, please let me know as well. Remember, like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, I pray you see God's grace and mercies each and every day. And in case no one has told you, I love you, and most importantly, God loves you. Until next time, peace.